Can you see that okay?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. We also have some nameplates that are blurred out because of the lighting, but that's okay. You know who we are.
I see familiar faces, so.
All right. So thank you for coming to our software design review. We're Team Selene representing Midwest State University. Here's our agenda for today. And a quick introduction / brief overview to our project. We're making a pressurized rover UI design alongside autonomous movement features with resource management. We aim to develop a robust and comprehensive UI to assist human operators, implementing mission, map, and UI overviews. Our concept operations allows for a at-a-glance overviews of ongoing mission assets and interactive maps synchronizing with the EVs, as well as large, easy-to-read sections with sleek and intuitive divisions. During tests, the UI will aid navigation of the pressurized rover and the lunar terrain vehicle with predictive planning and resource monitoring, alerting human operators during points of concern, interacting with the EVA team via information syncing. And for today, we have myself, Adrian, Sly, Riker, Ethan, as well as Zach presenting today. And for our software development plan, currently we're 7 weeks away from test week with 3 more sprints left. Those sprints being development, testing, and bug fixes. For our version control and code management, right now we're using GitHub. Code management side of things, we're using branching issues with readmes and wikis for documentation. And requirement developments, we have our UML diagrams and use case diagrams and Figma designs as well.
Okay, so for our high-level overview of our software requirements, GUI currently has 19 shall requirements, 2 should requirements, and 3 may requirements, with our autonomous team having 21 shall requirements, 2 should requirements, and 3 may requirements. For a refresher, the shall requirements are our first priority, shoulds are our second priority, and thirds are our last priority. So for our list of software requirements, the GUI is going to have the controls telemetry display with tasks, caution warning system, 2D maps, indicators, and cameras, and tasks. Where we have the autonomous, the rover will autonomously move and navigate, monitor, and optimize the use of our resources. So for accomplishments, where we currently have the GUI will have the conditional display of data, intuitive layout divisions, and navigation bar. The autonomous will have the manual movement baseline for autonomous movement and proper resource storage. So for deviations and future plans, our GUI currently had a large focus on the UI early on, but currently we're planning to implement more robust mission tab. And for our autonomous team, they're focusing on the completion and implementation of autonomous movement and resource management. So for our high-level system overview, the autonomous is focusing on charting the path to the POIs and managing resource utilization. And for the GUI, they're displaying the data from respective JSON files and plotting those POIs on the map. For a detailed software architecture, we have our autonomous UML diagrams, which we'll show you in just a little bit. And for our GUI tech stack, we have an HTML, CSS, and React frontend with a Node.js and Express.js backend. For our hardware and mechanical overview, as far as our purposes, we currently only have a joystick implementation for PR control within the DUS, and that will also be mapped to our GUI. So for interoperability, we had some difficulties in the beginning in terms of how the breakdown should look like between the two of us. But after some more extensive conversations, this is our current diagram of interoperability. This is in respect to Jasmine from UCI had made this diagram for us. So for our interoperability, we're focusing on a common server that will have a similar data structure for our JSON file, in which will be data processed and displayed to our respective backends and front ends. What we also currently have is a focus on the conversations around it. Currently, we're focusing on our part. UCI is focusing on their part. And then as time goes on in the next few weeks, we're focusing on the interoperability aspect itself.
So for a couple metrics regarding our project, as for software productivity, we gathered this information using GitHub Insights. So since we're in our developmental phase, we average around 20 commits per week, and then we had 42 pull requests in our past month. As for the GitHub issues that we're creating, we're primarily using use cases and user stories as these issues that we're getting from these diagrams that we created early on. And as for our source lines of code, we have in the ballpark of 540,000. The majority of these are for our dependencies for the project, though.
The testing process will be composed of pre and post-testing surveys. A 20-minute period of time in which the tester can control the digital lunar rover, as well as observational notes taken during testing by the testing conductor. The subject pool, so far we've had 29 testing consideration forms completed over the 3 outreach events, and we are aiming for a minimum of 15 subjects at least. Some human metrics are the time to understand all controls, as well as the tester's opinion on maneuverability, the threshold for alerts, as well as the user interface itself. And as for our testing plan, we are beginning tests today, April 3rd.
So for risk and challenges, GUI faced early on a lot of risk and potential challenges going from data collection to actually displaying that data and implementing all of it in such a way that it cohesively allows you to overview all mission aspects. So one of the main challenges we faced was integrating not only internally with our autonomous team, but as well as externally with UCI, who is doing the EVA team. A lot of these could pose miscommunication, data collisions, and all associated failures with that. Moving forward, to avoid potential slowdowns and a limited learning experience, we're hoping to mitigate these challenges by ensuring constant and effective communication both internally and externally.
So moving on to autonomous risks, currently we actually are facing one of these risks for the autonomous movement feature. So we kind of decided on implementing a D-star light algorithm into our rover to allow for dynamic pathfinding with the obstacles from the LiDAR. So this algorithm is proving to be a little bit more difficult than we had initially believed it to be. So the adaptation to our specific needs is not as easy as we may have thought. So we're currently in the process of potentially looking down other directions, and we're currently also breaking down D-star light to try and better understand it to adapt it to our methodology.
Some human-in-the-loop testing rates that we are anticipating as we begin testing today and ensuing it fully next week are the determining of boundaries for alert levels of criticality, the tester himself having difficulty as they're trying to understand the full controls, as well as inefficient answers from the testers themselves. And we can help mitigate this through the observational notes, as well as the pre and post-testing surveys.
So moving on to our GUI demo as it stands right now, we started with a low fidelity wireframe of how exactly we wanted everything to just look so we could get on the same page on how exactly we wanted to design it. And as you can see, very low fidelity, but as we progressed into our GUI as it currently stands, this is our setup page. It's what pops up when you actually open the GUI, and it allows you to enter IP addresses for the Dust telemetry stream server, as well as both EVAs. As you can see, there is actually error checking implemented within these sections, and hopefully as that progresses, we will be able to further refine and integrate this into the back end. Additionally, we're hoping to get the IP address of the EVA headset so we can implement camera streams later in the project. The UIA tab kind of shows the status for the UIA and the DCU, which is pulled from a JSON file, and it just conditionally displays whether it's on or open, closed or off. We have steps for the egress and ingress operations. These are broken down into the 4 main sections as laid out in the mission description. It allows you to checkmark each task and move forward as you progress through each operation. Moving on to the map tab, we do have sections for the cameras, which we hopefully plan to implement for the EVA and the LTV, as well as LTV telemetry. We have a big map for actually overlaying the display and all points of interest, which incorporates timers and additional ability to add points of interest. There's additionally a control section, which will be further implemented. Moving on to the EVA, we do have just divisions currently. We are working on further refining this and getting it up and running.
So as for our autonomous design, we primarily started off with a UML class diagram. So these are a few of the classes that we have kind of been implementing so far over our development period. We have finished a couple of these, and as I said before, our main focus right now is the autonomous movement in that bottom right there. We're also working in parallel to get our grid and map classes up and running as well. So moving on to our little demo here. So this is dust, and this was actually accomplished using our manual move feature that we have already finished implementing. So this is using a Logitech joystick for kind of like a fallback just in case the autonomous movement goes wrong. We do have a manual option to move the rover as well. Eventually, we'll be able to use the autonomous movement to use the LiDAR to scan for craters, rocks, or just any other hazards in the way. And then we'll dynamically alter our path to get to our POI.
Future work regarding the project. Currently, for autonomous, the design phase has been completed, and we're currently working on feature implementation. GUI front-end development is nearly completed with back integration with autonomous moving forward. What remains is integrating the GUI backend with the autonomous scripts and whatnot, as well as working on the common server with UCI so we can begin interoperability and data sharing. How we plan to accomplish this? By test week, May 18th to 23rd, we plan to focus on our shower requirements and working closer with our partner team, UCI. And for testing needs, we aren't currently in need of anything since we are already bringing everything ourselves for the exception of the screens in. But yeah, we should be good for test day.
Awesome. Thank you all very much. I think you all did a great job. I think you covered all the information really well. I don't even know that I have many questions. Oh, joystick. So are you all providing your own like physical joystick?
Yes.
Sort of. Okay, perfect. Obviously bring it. And then how are things going with UCI? We haven't heard from them yet. They're this afternoon. So just I do know they've had a couple of team members drop out. So just are things going well with them as far as meeting up with them? Or things tracking well? Are you worried? Anything like that?
In transparency and in deference to their position right now, far as our communication actually earlier this week, they are down to 2 members, of which they have one front end and one back end. And with that in mind, they have shared with us that their front end is pretty much complete. Their back end is going to require a good bit of work. And they will probably discuss a little bit more as well, but they are also looking for a Unity developer. Granted, considering the size of UCI, I imagine they would be able to get the people that they need. I'm just concerned about their ability to get them up to speed within a timely manner. With that in mind, we've also had a transparent conversation about making sure we're on the same page in terms of data structure, making sure we don't have any collisions. And what we also shared is if we get done sooner than later, we're more than happy to try to help out with their part of the projects as well. So that way we can make sure that they get up to speed. Ideally, we want to focus on the interoperability as much as possible, but we also know with their limitations, if they're not complete, then there's a little bit of a difficulty in what we can actually share between the two of us, right? So we're going to be pivoting as necessary if that becomes a situation.
Perfect. Yeah, that was like I guess yeah, the intention was just I know like if you've got obviously like your big space for that first person video feed from them, maybe starting to think like, is there a plan B? Like if they don't have that functionality working, is there something else? And this might even be something that Geraldo and I can talk about of like, can we come up with like some form of a webcam that we could put on somebody that could stream to allow that redundancy?
Yeah. And with that,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, with that in mind, we also know that the camera requirements from the first document, the camera requirements look to be, if I'm remembering correctly, it should be or more of a may or a should. So ideally, we'd love to be able to implement that feature. We know what headset that they have, but they only received that about 2 weeks ago. So we know that they might be facing some difficulty with that. If there is an issue with that, we know what we are working with. We're looking at the codecs that I think it was X-Real Pro ARD glasses that they were using. So
Okay.
But we can always fall back if needed.
Yeah, it sounds like y'all are ahead of things and you've thought of things that I was thinking, so well done on that. I just learned to make sure you weren't gonna be caught off guard, so well done. Impressed with y'all's work.
Geraldo, I think I cut you off as well, but thank you, Adam. Appreciate it.
Oh, no, yeah, it was the, if we needed to stream something to help you all, I think we could set that up pretty easy. And then how much their build affects y'all, it shouldn't be very much. We have, we can simulate we'll be streaming all the data anyway, so you can get the spacesuit data from our side too. And we can showcase that in your build. So we're not focusing that much on if you don't get their data, then it's gonna affect you that much. So we're more
Right.
focused on the design that you create. So we've accounted for that already.
Thank you. But I mean, for what it's worth too, it is a team, it is our team and their team, and we're working together. So we want to do everything we can
Yes.
around the right.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And if y'all are able to help them where you can, that's fantastic too. So that's what we wanted to see with part of what we wanted to see with the collaboration is how the teams interacted and where they would help each other. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
As far as feedback on the your build and everything right now, I think I'm the same with Adam. I don't have anything major. I think everything's very organized. The UI looks really clean. You have the manual controls of the rover, as well as I think you said in work the autonomous controlling. So I think you're hitting all the boxes. We have I don't know if you may have mentioned, I may have missed it, but for pathfinding and that sort of thing, has that been implemented as well?
As of now, not yet. We're currently trying to work with D-Star Lite to get a pathfinding algorithm up, but
Okay.
it's a little bit more complex than we initially thought.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No, overall, I think everything looks great. And then I had something else and I forgot. Might come back to me before that, but yeah, everything looks really good. I'm really impressed with the progress. Do you have any other concerns or issues right now as far it could be on your end or on our end? Has TSS been working properly now? We're going to make another push, and I think it'll be the final push when we make that one. But it shouldn't affect anything. You may have to update some of the command numbers just based on telemetry that we're adding, but it shouldn't affect anything else outside of that. But I just wanted to make sure everything was good there also.
Yeah. I personally think that in terms of working with TSS, we've been fine.
Okay.
I don't from my understanding, I don't think we've necessarily updated to the most current one just yet. But I have seen from the Discord, it looked like there were some issues, but it looks like that's kind of resolving. I think it looks more of like to be an error that's being thrown without necessarily an impact on the actual functionality.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we're taking it step by step. So
Nice.
we're just working with the work as it comes in.
Yeah, and I really like how you broke it down at the beginning of your charts with the kind of shall, should, and then may. That's a really good way to organize it to get your minimum viable product and then add things. So kudos to you all for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think that's all I have. So really good job.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, my only last thought is we're about 6-7 weeks away from test week. Do you all know how many people are going to be traveling down to Houston from your team? Which you don't have to know. I'm going to ask it via email sooner rather than later. But
so we're going to have the full 8, including our faculty advisor. We are also planning on bringing the rest of our team as well. However, we know that there's not an expectation that everyone is going to be at testing week, so we're not concerned about that. But we still want to be able to bring everyone down. And if we have the off time, from testing week, we want to still be able to have everyone on board in case we need to re-implement.
do you know how many extra people that is?
That would be
13 was total, right? 13 total plus stuff we're going to 14.
yeah. So that would be an extra 7 students.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that's all I have. Again, thank you all. You all did a great job. I appreciate you all have been asking questions and all the sessions, and we like that because it helps us know where you all are. And yeah, you guys have been doing great work. We're proud of you and super excited to see you all here in a month or so, 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I think
Alright.
we're good in terms of questions. The only question I think I would have is, I know we're trying to figure out the common server. In terms of having that be an option, where is there an opportunity and is there an option to have it be hosted on a web server? I know that we're trying to be very careful with what's impacted by firewalls, of course. But we're trying to see about redundancies as well, just in case.
You mean like a web server connected to the internet? Is that what you're?
Yeah, so
Talking
for our common server.
So we're going to try to have internet out there, and we always try to, but the way we're able to get internet out to the Rock Yard is through hotspots, and they are never very reliable. So I would plan on trying to develop your system with that in mind, with the assumption that there will be no internet at the Rock Yard. It'll all be local area network.
Okay, sounds good to us.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, have y'all hi, okay, as someone who used to be the lead network engineer at Johnson Space Center before I moved on to other positions, have you all ever considered contacting OCIO and seeing if you can get something set up for that week?
We have spoken to about, we've talked to, I don't know if it was OCIO specifically, but we talked to someone about setting up internet, and because I know there's a network out there, but there were issues because it was part of the NASA network.
Yeah.
So we can definitely reach out again and see if there's a way to bypass that, but that was like
Okay.
the main concern.
Okay, because they should be able to put like what they call NASA Connect, which NASA
Okay.
Connect is the guest network, and it can actually ride on the NASA network. It's basically just the traffic is segregated.
Okay, yeah, I can reach out. You said OCIO, correct?
Yeah, I would reach out to OCIO, and if you get any type of pushback, let me know,
Okay,
because I still have some connections over there.
awesome. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much. We'll do that.
okay,
Awesome. Thank you, Todd. Always
No
good
problem.
to know people.
Yeah.
that's right.
And for what it's worth, we're just trying to explore all options we have, and prepare for redundancies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's great. And like I said, we up until now we'll try this and see if we can get it out there. We would love to have internet connectivity. But every time we've tried, we've run into something. So, but yeah, we'll definitely reach out to them and see what we can find. So we'll keep you all posted. Thanks, really appreciate that, Todd.
No problem. Like I said, if you start to run into any roadblocks, let me know.
Okay.
I still have some connections over there.
Awesome.
Yep. Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you, Team Selene, and we look forward to seeing you all. And thank you for joining us, Todd. And we will see you all in a few weeks. So we got our travel briefing in a few weeks, and we'll be emailing probably more and more feverishly as we approach that. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.